What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. The Hollywood Reporter just dropped an enormous article and a very candid conversation with Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige, where he was asked about everything from movies they've made in the Multiverse saga at the very beginning to current films like the Thunderbolts, the Fantastic Four, even what's going on with Avengers Doomsday. But interestingly enough, he also felt comfortable and for the very first time on record acknowledging what happened with Jonathan Majors and Kang. And while there were reasons why the way he did it were a little bizarre, we'll point them out, it seems like Marvel Studios has an explanation, at least from internally, what was going on with that character, Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom, and their decision to go in a different direction for Avengers Secret Wars. We're going to break down exactly what he said and the weird parts as well, and then talk about what it ultimately means for a future Kang appearance like those have been rumoring for somewhere further down the road in the Multiverse saga. We're breaking it all down. Kevin Feige for the first time on record talking about Kang the Conqueror, but first, if you could grab the subscribe button. Thanks to everyone who's been subbing lately and helped grow the channel. You are awesome. And if you haven't already, I'll just kindly invite you to do so. It's the #1 way to support us. Plus, it'll enter you for all the giveaways. In fact, make sure to leave a comment on this video. We'll announce a brand new ticket winner tomorrow and a PS5 winner at the end of the week. Again, just be a sub, leave a comment if you want. Stick around at the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so this excerpt comes from a much larger article that just broke in the last hour at the Hollywood Reporter under the headline, Marvel's Kevin Feige talks scaling back, losing Kang, in his text to James Gunn after Superman. We will be breaking down other parts of this article in future videos at the channel, but today we're going to jump ahead to the subheadline, Feige addresses Jonathan Majors for the first time without talking about Jonathan Majors. They go on to report, quote, Marvel faced several curveballs in the last few years as it worked on its post-Endgame phases. Yes, there were real-world issues of a pandemic and Hollywood strikes, there was the tragic loss of Black Panther star Chadwick Boseman, and there was the assault conviction of Jonathan Majors, the actor who was playing villain Kang, and seemed to be teed up as the next big arch nemesis for years to come. And this is where it gets a little weird. Quote, Feige never mentioned Majors by name, instead calling him Kang actor at one point, or the actor, or just zeroing in on Kang as a character. And Feige said Marvel was already preparing to pivot away from Kang before the Majors issue. Quote, we had started even before what had happened to the actor happened. We had started to realize that Kang wasn't big enough, wasn't Thanos, and that there was only one character that could be that, because he was that in the comics for decades and decades, said Feige. Because of the Fox acquisition, we finally had it, and it was Dr. Doom. So we had started talking about Dr. Doom even before we officially pivoted from Kang. And in fact, I had started talking with Robert Downey Jr. about this audacious idea before Ant-Man 3 ever came out. It was a long plan that we had to take one of our greatest characters and utilize one of our greatest actors. Now again, this is Kevin Feige's first time on record like this, talking about the Kang issue, and straight up, if you're wondering why he hasn't ever answered a question about this before, he was on a whole press junket for Deadpool and Wolverine, that's because Disney and Marvel have to approve the questions, and a lot of times before you get to ask them, that's why you never heard one. Well, apparently they allowed this one to actually happen. He had an answer for it, but man, how telling is it that he wouldn't even use Jonathan Majors' name? I think there is still something there, maybe in a way that feels internally like he can't talk about it because they know how dirty they did the actor. I mean, honestly, I may sound biased at this point, but if you've been watching the channel for a while, you guys know my stance on this has been since the beginning, and like a lot of you, they should have definitely brought him back. They should still bring him back, but if you were one of those who heard that rumor that, hey, they're gonna bring Kang back for Avengers Doomsday and then kill him instantly at the hands of Dr. Doom, that's not the type of thing that Jonathan Majors would want to come back for. There may be a redemption arc for him inside and outside of the MCU, somewhere in a further phase where they do like a timeless Kang and he comes back out of nowhere, which is just so Kang, and I'm still praying that one day that happens, but I think this is very telling and very definitive that he wouldn't even use Jonathan Majors by name. He referred to him as the Kang actor because let's face it, they know each other well. They worked together for quite a while. So to me, this says a lot on face value about not seeing him in anytime soon. It's going to be a while, if ever. But I also can't deny that if you were to comb the 3,000 videos at this channel, that for a long time, before Ant-Man 3, and even though I loved Jonathan Majors as Victor Timely and all the different incarnations of Kang and He Who Remained that we saw, I was saying you gotta do Dr. Doom for Secret Wars at Secret Wars. So I don't blame them for wanting to take the classic Secret Wars villain and put him into Avengers Secret Wars. Okay, that makes sense. And you want to bring Robert Downey Jr. back to do it. Okay, for sure. But still, it wasn't Jonathan Majors' fault. It wasn't Jonathan Majors' fault that Kang wasn't big enough. He absolutely slayed that role. It wasn't Jonathan Majors' fault that Ant-Man and the Wasp wasn't as good as it should have been, had a lot of technical errors with the shooting, the cinematography, and the script building and writing, and then didn't perform at the box office. That's not on Jonathan Majors, that's on Marvel Studios realizing that Kang maybe isn't as big as they thought that he was with the fan base. I mean, if you're a Marvel fan, you'll know that Kang was never a favorite. There are other A-tier villains, Doctor Doom is namely one of them. At the end of the day, this is a business, but the fact that he couldn't use Jonathan Majors by name, I mean, I feel like I'm being a little less buttoned up in my reporting of this than I normally am, but can we all just call it what it is? I mean, we're humans, right? There's signifiers in the way that people talk about things, and he couldn't even use Jonathan Majors by name in this interview. That is crazy to me. And honestly, if you got to read the tea leaves here, that doesn't spell, good for Jonathan Majors making it back in the MCU. But you know what? Jonathan Majors doesn't need the MCU. He's going to be fine. His career is starting to take off again. People are going to give him opportunity. He's an amazing actor. May he, be able to triumph in face of whatever mistakes he has made in the past. And we all know things went down. It played itself out in public. This is a wild one to me. Still, here we are. Pretty sure no Kang cameos in the near future of the MCU, and at least for now, Marvel's sticking to the story that they were going to do this even before Jonathan Majors had issues. For the record, Variety, other major outlets have said the same thing, and in the Russos and Robert Downey Jr., in interviews they've done, have talked about this timeline, that it took almost a year to convince the Russos to come back from when Kevin Feige talked to RDJ about it a year before Ant-Man and the Wasp came out. So if you look back at the history records, it doesn't seem like they're lying because everybody's stories lined up imperfectly, but hey, that's also media training. It's so funny to me too that, they made everyone wait like 2 years before they were willing to answer a question about Jonathan Majors. It has been so long, like literally 2023, we're in 2025, guys. I know it doesn't feel like that, but it's literally been 2 years. Still can't use his name. Crazy to me. All right, you guys let me know all your thoughts down below. I'm sorry, it's not funny, it's just wild. It's absolutely wild. Let me know all your thoughts down below. We are still doing giveaways at the channel. PS5 giveaway on Friday. Ticket giveaway announcement tomorrow. And a couple more times this week before Fantastic Four drops on Thursday. All you got to do is leave a comment because it's truly random. The more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. Make sure to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on to keep up with the videos. And of course, if you like today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. Find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at I'mFires. You can also find me on all platforms with original music under the name All Fires. And thanks to everyone who's been clicking through recently. 2 of my songs have started to go viral again. You guys are awesome. If you haven't already checked it out, please do. There's a link down in the description, including the song you're hearing in the background called Make an Entrance. Those of you who already supported it, you're awesome. Guys, I have a ton of videos to get through. Stay tuned at the channel. I'm going to be putting up content pretty much every 6 to 8 hours for the next week or so. See you in the next one. Peace.